Hey guys, are you still baiting up like we did 10 to 20 years ago? Are you still using stock standard rigs? Well, I've been all over this country fishing inshore, offshore, beaches, everywhere else in between. What I was going to do, guys, is just talk about the top 3 rigs I think work really well in this country for all from offshore to inshore. And I'm just going to show you some different ways to bait up, like 2025 versions. Okay, instead of just going to your tackle shops, buying a packet of prawns and going down the river, I'm going to show you something a bit better. Okay, and stick around, guys, because at the end of this video, the last rig I'll be showing is my big fish rig I use offshore. It's my go-to rig for pretty much all fishing, from up here in the tropics chasing red emperor to nanagai with live or dead bait, to down south chasing kingfish, jewfish, big mulloway, massive cobia. Like I said, I got my 51 kilo cobia on this rig. Okay, so stick around for the end to see that one. To start off with, we're gonna step back to basics. This rig's been around forever. A lot of you guys will know this rig, but this is more for the guys getting into fishing. Okay, we're gonna step back in time to the rig I grew up with, and most of you guys did too. We're going back to the running sinker rig. But the good thing about this running sinker rig is what a lot of people don't realise. They think you just can make it a small version of it and use it just the once. But I'll get into that in a second. What I'm talking about, guys, for the people that don't know, just getting into fishing, this is a running sinker rig. So we've got here, I've got a sinker. It's on your main line, okay? This is the line going up to your rod. It's the sinker can run. You got a little swivel here, which the sinker sits on. Then you got about a foot and a half of line. Usually we use a nice light fluorocarbon, especially in rivers and the water's clear, so it doesn't speak fish, to a little hook. And this is what a lot of guys use down the river, chasing whiting, brim, flathead. Kids use, okay, you go put a prawn on or a piece of pilly or something, but I'm not going to talk about those baits either. I've got some other baits here. So, running sinker rig. Good, versatile rig. Use it all over the country, from down south to up north, over west, east coast, doesn't matter, everywhere. Inshore. And you can even use this thing offshore and on the beaches. Like on the beaches, this is fine for catching dart and whiting and flathead and brim in the gutters. It's a perfect rig for that. You just can update your sinker size and your hook size to whatever baits and stuff. You can also use this rig when you're chasing like a big monster flathead or jewfish or mangrove jacks. You can put like a 4-0 or a 6-0 on the end, a 40-pound trace and a bigger sinker. Use the same rig with a live bait and go chase, like I said, jewies and jacks and big monster flathead and stuff with live baits. This rig can do it. Just got to update everything. Bigger sinker, bigger hook, bigger leader. That's it. Same rig. You can even go use it offshore and put live baits down offshore. The only difference offshore, when you're dropping down to the depths with this sort of rig, you got to have a slow controlled drop. So when a sinker goes down, it stays in contact with the swivel and pulls the bait down. If you have too much weight on, you let it go too fast, the sinker will shoot down, your bait will be up here or just twist around and tangle everything. That's the downside to fishing deep water. Just a slow controlled drift though. It's drop. That's fine. It's very good. So running sinker rig, number 1. It will never change. It's always going to be one of the go-to rigs in the country. It really is. Probably the world. But bait. I won't go down the river and put a prawn on this. A little soft prawn that's going to fall off in the first cast, or get a little picker and fall off, or a piece of soft pilchard or anything. No, none of that. What I'm going to tell you to do, guys, is actually go collect your own bait. If you don't want to collect bait, you can go to the tackle shops or BCFs and servos and everywhere else and buy some bait and see if you can get yourself some fish, like gar or mullet or yakkers or something. Just fish. Because what we want to do is actually use strip baits. Strip baits are a very good bait. If you get them in mullets, you can actually make a lot of strips, nice skinny strips, out of one side of a decent mullet. Tuna, any sort of fish, and just strip it down. And the reason I like using strip baits is it won't fly off your hook in your first cast. On a cast, it'll stay on there after one little nibble. It's a bit harder to get off. And generally when you're using flesh baits like this, you're looking for better quality fish, or you're looking for bigger brim to eat, or you're looking for a nice flathead or something like that, a nice eating fish. Okay, Not so much whiting on this stuff, it's going to be more your brim and flathead. And if you're out in the surf, same deal. And I like eating flatheads, I got used to doing this. So just a little strip bait like so, and this one a little hook. But the way I want to put this on is not just like some guys will put it through the middle like so, then back through like that, and it's like that. I don't know why. That's going to sit in a bit of current. That's just going to twist and twist and twist. You're not going to get a bite. It's just going to twist. You're not going to get bites. It's going to mess up your lead or tangle it all up. So what I want you to do is start on the skin side. Always go through the skin side first. So I'm just going to go through once, about halfway down through the bait, like so. So it's out through the flesh, okay? So with fillets, after they've been in the water for a while, they start to curl, and the skin will curl back on itself, and the hook will show out through the flesh. It won't get covered by the skin curling back. So you want that just from the skin side out the flesh side. Now all I want you to do is just grab your leader and just make a loop. Just twist it around a couple of times. Just make it a loop, and then you put the loop over the little tail of your bait and pull tight. And what that creates is a half hitch. And there's just like a beautiful little bait to go throughout. Look at that, nice and straight. Hooks through once, so simple. That won't spin and twist in the water. That will just sit on the bottom and just flutter around in a little bit of current. Deadly little bait for a brim and flathead. Okay, and trevally and things like that. Even a jack will pick that up. School Jew, depending on the size of the strip you want to put out. And the size of the strip is going to depend on the size of the hook. Got a small hook, small strip. Bigger hook, bigger strip. Strip baits always work, and they're good baits for a lot of species. Okay, so forget going to the servo or buying a packet of prawns or any of that. Buy some little fish and then just strip them down to little strips and put the strips out. You'll look for better quality fish. You won't have to bait up a kid's rods every 30 seconds, and they won't flick them off when they're casting like soft, horrible freaking prawns. Buy some decent baits, put some strips on. Good way to go in 2025, and the fish you'll catch will be something you want to take home to eat. Hopefully, most of the time. Okay? So there's number one. That is number one. The second best rig I found for around the country is an offshore rig. And it's a very simple, good old paternoster. Can't really beat a paternoster. But they have got one downfall, and I've noticed this with so many people I've taken fishing out wide, when we're deep dropping out wide, like chasing pearlies down south, snapper, up here for reds and nannies and stuff as well. It's not the rig itself and how people make the rig, it's usually the way they bait up. Okay? So the rig itself, you got the sinker on the bottom, about a metre away, or a couple of feet away, I got my first hook. I usually run octopus hooks. You can run your more long shanks. These are, I can't even think, what are they? Vikings, okay? Or you can even put gang hooks on there and put whole strips or whole pilchards or small gar or some sort of fish. But I prefer these, just octopus. I usually run two around about 2 to 2.5 feet away from each other. So very simple paternoster, nothing fancy about it. You can put lumo tubes and beads and squids and stuff, all that shit on there if you want to dress it up. That's all good. It does work. A bit of lumo doesn't hurt, but up here on the tropics I'm not going to worry about it. It's just more stuff to lose, more expensive. So what I see, I'm going to show you something what I see a lot of. I'll cut all my baits up. So people put down tails. I see them using pilchard tails a lot. Sometimes fish tails and yakka tails, but tails. And what they do is this, and I don't know why, but it just buggers up your rig. They just start in the middle there, go around, hit the backbone, bait's still half frozen. Okay, they put them on like so, and think that's all good. How many of you guys have done it like that before? I'm going to say don't. Because when it's dropping down, the sinker's going down, all that's going to do in the water is going down, that's like a helicopter. That's bloody spinning. That's going to spin, spin, spin. And even if it gets down to the bottom of the rig, if the rig's not fully tangled up by that stage, it's going to sit there in a current and just spin, 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 spin. Absolutely shocking way. And a lot of guys will take fish and wonder, oh, well, I'm getting bites, they're not. they bring their rigs up, and their rigs, this is all, you know, around each other and tangled and twisted up badly because of that, because how they bait. It's even spinning there a bit. Don't do that. If you want to use tails, do what I've done a minute ago with the flesh bait. If I'm using a chunky tail like this, okay, I'll do the same as that flesh bait. I'll just go in and out like one side, like so, right? Just pierce under the skin like so, so the hook's sticking right out. And then with, even though it's doubled there, just make a loop. Stick it over the tail. You just made a half hitch. Now I'm tangling it up, stuff everywhere. That's alright. I'm allowed to. There you go. Now I'll drop that down. That'll go down. It won't spin as much. I won't spin the current. It'll just flutter away. So something like that. Okay. And if you want to use the head halves, something similar. With the heads, just cut it off so the gut cavity's out, so it lets all the oils and juices out. Then just put it under between its eyes, under its nose, out to the top of the head like so. That's all you need. That works well. Especially when you're chasing big fish like pearlies and stuff with big mouths, they just engulf that. Up here chasing reds and nannies, they just engulf that. Very simple. Squid's always a really safe bet with this. You can just put it through a couple of times. Okay. From the tail end, just hook through a couple of times and the squid will go down and waft. It's always a good bait. But if you're using baits like this, just tail with a half hitch all through the head. Oh, anyway guys, that's your paternoster rig. Very good. Use tail halves, use head halves of the bait, put it through once through the head. The tail with a half hitch around it works an absolute treat. It's a good way to go. And like I said, squid's always a good safe bet on a paternoster too. Now, third and final one. This is my favourite one. I use this rig pretty much everywhere, wherever I go in the country. Whenever I'm offshore, I'm chasing big fish. I'm using live baits to big dead baits. It doesn't matter. This rig works well. Easy to make, doesn't cost a lot. And like I said, it's called a many a big cobra, including the monster I got. And the outfits I sort of use are a jig outfit. So there's an outfit I use for this. I'm just showing this because I'm going to explain how to use it properly, this rig as well. That's just a little Speedmaster 10 on the 24 kilos to res. It is 24 kilo, nice and light, because with this rig we leave it in the rod holder. Let the rig do the work for you. Okay. And then basically it's just guys, it's nothing special, it's just a snell hook rig like so. Okay, all that snell hook. A little green bead on there and a big number 8 sinker. And the sinker size depends on the bait and the current. I have gone a lot bigger than that, gone up to like 10s and 12s, like with these oval shaped ones, big chunky sinkers if the current's really racing. And usually 8Os to 10Os depending on the size of the bait I'm using. And the leader I'm always using that Tiagra 80. I've been using it for years now, it's never let me down. It's great stuff. It's not super thick for a 80 pound. It's bloody hard to break, so I really like it. Okay, with this, it doesn't matter if you're using dead bait or live bait. Okay, you're going to rig them up exactly the same way. Exactly the same way. And obviously I haven't got live bait here today, I've got dead bait. So here's a dead bait. And I'll do this a little bit different, okay? And I've never talked about this before. You all know how to butterfly these baits. You've got a dead bait, you can butterfly them. Usually you slide the knife up either side, take the backbone out, which is all very good. The only problem with that is when these baits are down the bottom doing what they're meant to do, you get a lot of pickers come up and chew off the nice soft fillets. And there's nothing left for the big fish. When I'm using dead baits like this one, I do butterfly, but not that. I start the butterfly, but I don't do a full butterfly. If you notice, I've taken the tail out, but it's only very, very short. See that? Very, very short. And the reason I do that, because I do that so the pickers can come up, because you get a few pickers in, it usually gets bigger fish interested. They'll come up and pick on little bits at the back, but they can only take about this much off. The rest of this is solid fish, so small fish generally don't worry about it. and I'll sit down there waiting for the big ones. And also a couple of little flaps at the back, flap around the current doesn't hurt. So I just take the little bit of the backbone and the tail out, okay, of my whole baits. This is a good way to fish. And with this rig, I rig up live baits exactly the same way, bait up live baits exactly the same. Except for I don't cut the tail out, obviously, but I put the hooks exactly the same. So what I'm going to do with this dead bait, I do with live baits too, alright? So you've all heard about me with octopus hooks and you've got the offset. Okay, so the offset kicks out. So generally, they'll go on there. Say if I'm got the head pointing that way, it's on my right hand side. That's where I want the hook, so the hook will kick out. And don't put it down where the little fish are going to pick away. You leave the tail there. So I've got the tail there, and I've got the first hook just pierced neatly under the skin, just like so. That's it. And I do that same with live baits. Okay, and if you've got too much line, just like I'm here, just go for a wrap around. Usually I'm doing this with pike and bigger baits. And now with the top hook, just go through his nose. But we want the hook coming out the other way. So if you see there's your perfect yakka. Or pike, or tailor, or slimy, or whatever you're doing. If it's not live, if it's dead, you got one hook coming out one way, you got this hook coming out the other way, and you got a couple little flaps at the back there, no tail, just kicking away and letting juice out and smell, and something for the pickers to pick on. And when you use this rig, guys, out in the depth, it's a slow controlled drop. So what I mean by slow controlled drop is have your thumb on the spool and let the sinker go down with the bait. So the bait and the sinker stay in contact all the way to the bottom. Okay, I have taken guys out and they drop it over the side, let the free spool go pretty much flat out. What happens, sinker falls, bait goes wafting down, hooks your main line, tangles the shit out of you, and you got a massive tangle at the end. Doesn't work. You have to have your thumb on the spool, slow controlled drop and let it go. It takes a few seconds, doesn't take long. Patience, works well. And then once you get to the bottom, click the reel in gear, wind up a couple of turns. It should be roughly, a metre off the bottom. Once you're a metre off the bottom, line's going to show up to the right. You've got a live bait on or a dead bait in the current. They're just sitting there like so. If it's a live bait, you'd be sitting there like that, swimming. It doesn't go anywhere, just under the boat, just kicking in the current. A dead bait will just sit there wafting in the current too, off the bottom so you don't get snagged. Now with this rig to work its magic, put the rod in the rod holder. Adjust your drag accordingly. Don't have your drag locked up because you're going to snap your freaking rod, especially some of these fish here, they hit like freaking freight trains. Have just enough drag so your rod will load up and the hooks were set. The fish will hook themselves. Okay, but not too much, because if you get too much you're going to snap your freaking rod. So just enough drag for the rod to load up and the hooks to go in, and that's it. You're on. Simple as fishing. Easiest way to catch fish. One of my all-time favourites. And when I'm doing this, I usually have two rods like this. I'll have one in the port side with a dead bait or a live, and then the other one, and then you got the starboard side, and that's either a dead or a live. So you have one dead, one live, and then you can be up the front of the boat flicking lures, or down the back of the boat floating the bait out for a snapper, or you got two of these down deep, one dead, one live, waiting for a code, waiting for a dewey or a snapper, or if you're up this end and big nanny or a red or something to come past. It works an absolute treat, guys. It really is a good rig and catches a lot of fish. And if you rig the dead ones up like I said, with a little tape to the tail and a couple of little flaps at the back, that works. It's something about it just works really well. Okay, and also without the tail, it stops it spinning. Well, that's it for those three rigs. I reckon they're the best three rigs in Australia. You can use from inshore to the beaches to offshore. Guys, they're the rigs. Look them up, learn how to tie them, and then bait them up with fresh fillets or fillets. Don't worry about going to get prawns and stuff from the servo. Go out and catch the bait, that's half the fun. Take your kids out, they'll love catching bait. If you're down south, salmon and mullet, go catch them. If you're up north, cast nets, mullet, herring, any of that sort of stuff. Go catch some garfish, whatever, it doesn't matter. Just good, fresh, and fillet them. Put strips out. Strip bait's awesome for inshore fishing, surf fishing, reef fishing. It's good bait, doesn't fall off the hook easy. And it's fun to go catch, so it's part of fishing, it's all good fun. So yeah, they're the baits, they're the rigs. And guys, if you like the video, hit the subscribe button, give me a thumbs up. And I'll see you next week for... I'm going to do a bit of a talking mulloway again. Yeah, we're going to do a 2025 mulloway one. Stick around next week to see that one. Thanks for watching, guys. See you then.